Good morning. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning. I'm Matthew Johnson, Senior Minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church in Rockford, Illinois. Whether you're joining us live at 10 Central on July 5th or later, welcome. Whether you're a member or friend of the Unitarian Universalist Church in Rockford or a member or friend of another Unitarian Universalist congregation who's found your way here because you need worship today, or if you're exploring religion anew and have found us, welcome. Whether you are frightened, grieving, determined, curious, sad, or furious, or all of the above, welcome. Whoever you are and whatever brings you here, welcome. We're coming to you from the sanctuary of the church. With me today is Jesse Parker, one of our summer musicians, and Dwayne Wilkie, a member of our choir, who will be our song leader today. Autumn Powell, our office manager, is in the back of the hall running the technology for us. Lindsay Dunn, our director of religious education, has the day off. Our worship associate, Brian Gustafson, has pre-recorded their testimony which you'll hear later in the service. And Chris Ainsworth, our membership coordinator, is at home and chiming in on the Facebook feed and keeping people connected online. If you're watching this on Facebook, you'll see a comment area, and we invite you to comment. Be present with us, but be thoughtful about what you post. It is public, and we try to operate in covenant on that feed as well as everywhere else that we are together. If you'd prefer not to be distracted by comments, you can do that. You can look up quiet mode instructions for your device. It's a ritual of how we worship. It's similar to what we did before the middle of March, but this is how we do it now, and those rituals give us a touchstone and a base, something secure that to hold on to in these times. So we will worship together. I'm going to ring the bell, which I think is over there. And I'll ring the bell to gather us for worship. We're going to sing together. It's a new month and a new theme. Our theme is harmony. And so we're going to be learning and singing Building Bridges, which is a song composed by Quaker women protesting nuclearization in Britain a generation ago. And Dwayne and Jesse are going to share this song with you.
Good morning. We'll sing this through twice. The second time you'll hear Jesse do the round part, but just sing with me.
Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
So glad that you are here for worship. If today is your first time with us, we're especially happy to have you joining us online. Be in touch with us. You can like the Facebook page and fill out the visitor form, which Chris has posted into the comments, as a way to stay in touch and to find out more about us and how to become part of this community. We look forward to when we can meet you in person. The flaming chalice is the symbol of our faith, the beacon of truth, a fire for justice, and a warmth for the soul. I'll light our chalice here at the church and invite you to speak together the covenant of our church while you might light your chalice at home. Love is the spirit of this church, and reason is its guide. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in freedom, and to serve human need. This is our covenant. Now we'll sing together our chalice response.
May love shine forth through us today. May light of reason guide our way. May beauty, truth, and joy become a flame that burns in everyone.
As I said, the theme for July is harmony. And harmony is different than unison. The singers who are here with me know the difference. Unison, everybody sings the same note at the same time. Harmony is something different. It's when different sounds come together to make something that's larger than the sum of the parts. And harmony invites us to attend with listening, I can't sing, you all know that, but I've learned a lot from Tim, our music director, and others about singing. And one thing I've learned is the most important part about singing is listening. So I want to invite you, as we gather in worship, to breathe in and out. I have in my office a couple of Tibetan singing bowls. I'm not as good at playing these or making the sounds as some folks are. And later this month, you'll get a treat when Linda Slavon and Tony Talsrud bring their singing bowls here to worship. But as we gather and invoke the Spirit, make some sounds from these bowls. You'll hear them through the microphone and through your device, and I invite you to just listen, to attend to the sounds that sing in the world and sing in you. Let us worship together.
Hello, my name is Margaret and I work at Politics and Prose Bookstore. Welcome to a virtual visit to the bookstore for a presentation from author Carol Lindstrom. She will read and talk from her latest book, We Are Water Protectors. This book is inspired by all Indigenous people fighting for clean water. Carol Lindstrom is a proud member of the Turtle Mountain Band of Ojibwe. She grew up in Nebraska and now lives in Maryland. Please welcome Carol Lindstrom.
Hi, so I'm going to read We Are Water Protectors, written by myself, Carol Lindstrom, and illustrated by Michaela Goad. Water is the first medicine, Nokomis told me. We come from water. It nourished us inside our mother's body as it nourishes us here on Mother Earth. Water is sacred, she said. We stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. The river's rhythm runs through my veins, runs through my people's veins. My people talk of a black snake that will destroy the land. Spoil the water, poison plants and animals, wreck everything in its path. When my people first spoke of the black snake, they foretold that it wouldn't come for many, many years. Now the black snake is here. Its venom burns the land, courses through the water, making it unfit to drink. Take courage. I must keep the black snake away from my village's water. I must rally my people together to stand for the water, to stand for the land, to stand as one against the black snake. We stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. It will not be easy. We fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. The winged ones, the crawling ones. The four-legged, the two-legged, the plants, trees, rivers, lakes. The earth. We are all related. Tears like waterfalls stream down. Tracks down my face, tracks down my people's faces. Water has its own spirit, Nokomis told me. Water is alive. Water remembers our ancestors who came before us, she said. We stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. We are stewards of the earth. Our spirits have not been broken. We are water protectors. We stand. The black snake is in for the fight of its life. At the end of the book is also some information on the water protectors that I've listed, that I've written as well for you to read, so you can learn a little bit more about the water protectors and the fight against the black snake. There's also a glossary and in the back that has some pronunciation guide that can help you pronounce the words. And then the illustrator has also written a lovely note as well that talks about what this book and what the water protectors means to her.
I was happy to find that video of Carol Lindstrom reading her story, We Are Water Protectors. Here's where we're at. As a community, we are continuing to worship online. Many congregations across the country and in Illinois and other denominations are opening for 50 or less today, and we have determined that we just don't think that's safe for our staff or for our people. And we can't sing if we're in the same room, but we can sing at home. So we're going to keep doing that for a while as we let the science dictate where we shall go from here. So we're worshiping online, we're having small groups online, we're having programs online, and we hope you will join those programs. Making sure to be reading the newsletter is how to know what's happening in the church. We will have coffee hour after service today. Chris will host that at the regular Zoom ID, so I invite you to join in that group to chat with other folks in the church, including if you're new. Feel free to join that, and information will be posted. We'll put it in the chat comments so you can see where that Zoom ID is to join that. And if you're thinking of folks in the church, we invite you to reach out to somebody, chat with people. It gives me much pleasure to hear from you about, oh, I saw this person and we had a social distance front porch conversation. Check in with each other. Please reach out to me if you need anything. If you're a member or friend of the church and you're experiencing financial difficulty or need spiritual connection or support, let me know. We're working slightly reduced hours over the summer, but we are in the office here and there and able to meet with you by video or phone conference, please. Each week we take up an offering to support the work of justice and mercy in the world. Last fall, the Social Justice Council, who sets the schedule for these Share the Plate, decided that we wanted to focus. Each month, we would choose one of our partner organizations or causes or projects that folks in the church work on to focus on, that we would do all of our Share the Plate for that month for related causes and organizations. So not always the same group, but in the same cluster of areas, groups that were working together collaboratively to advance the values of justice, mercy, and love and compassion in the world, and that we would try to have adult programming and other programs during the month that gave people an opportunity to learn or be of service in that area. Of course, we did this before the pandemic, and opportunities to be of service will be different than they would have otherwise been, but we're moving ahead with that. And so July is a focus on the work of the Family Peace Center and the effort to combat domestic violence and sexual abuse. So this week, we're taking up an offering for the Family Peace Center itself to support their work. They're hoping to open later this month in their temporary headquarters in downtown Rockford. I've been part of the clergy team and am completing my training to be one of the volunteer chaplains a couple hours a month at the Family Peace Center to be available to chat with folks. And there's a great team, including some members of the congregation who have played a really active role in helping make that happen. It's such important work to protect people and families from harm and to help keep people safe. The Family Peace Center, through the City of Rockford Facebook page, is having an update about their work on Tuesday at 5:30. So in lieu of a Wonderful Wednesday this week, we invite you to join that conversation that the city is hosting, again, on their Facebook page, City of Rockford, where you'll hear from the leaders of the Family Peace Center and the mayor about how that work is going and what's next and how to get involved as a volunteer, because they will need other volunteers if you're interested. But the money we collect today, 80% will go to support their work. So thank you for your generosity. And you can give online by texting the number that'll be on the screen or going to urockford.org/donate. And it's a new fiscal year at the church. So if you didn't complete your pledge for last year, you can still do that. Just let us know that it's for last year and we've begun our new year. We ask you to keep being generous to the congregation as we do our ministry in these strange and distant times. The offering will now be given and received.
Good morning. I'm Brian Gustafson, your worship associate for this Sunday. As a former teacher, and having spent half of my career teaching U.S. government, I felt that this particular Sunday topic was one to which I could most relate. To be forthright, I should tell you that I have, in the past few years, whenever I met them, apologized to former students for not preparing them for the outrageous excesses that have confronted us the past 4 years. Instead of clarifying the ideals by which our democracy had begun and evolved, it might have been more practical to teach the lessons of the Vietnam War protests. Ideals seem to be in rather short supply amongst the majority of our national leadership. Some of the challenging perspectives of our current ethos have included those that represent unaddressed racial issues that had seemed to be improving, but now are rising to national crisis status. No nation has fully achieved its ideals and goals to which we would ascribe and work to achieve. The rise of open white nationalism, however, serves as a stark reminder that there is far more to do in this regard than many of us had been aware until now. The abuses of political and financial power are also not new in the United States, but the historic revolution in government of the 1930s has become ossified over time, and the original intent lost. Far too many of the efforts of the New Deal's economic protections remain unavailable to too many citizens, and this retreat of protection for those who have the least has become overlain with bureaucratic obstacles that have hidden too many problems until now. If capitalism, as some would have it, is the foundation of democracy, one must ask the question of whether the problems facing the U.S. tend to lie with failures of democracy, or whether the problems of inequality lie with capitalism. If our amazing economy has built a gap between the 1% who control most of the nation's wealth and those without, and wealth, especially since Citizens United, has become synonymous with the Gilded Age centralization of plutocratic power, then the excesses of capitalism must be addressed. And we see this issue today highlighted by environmental, healthcare, and other economic goals espoused by progressives. Socialism, a dirty word for many in political power, represents the same goals of many of the aspects of the New Deal as a way of redistributing national wealth to where it is needed most. Equality of economic status, as well as political and social equality, are congruent goals for our nation. Capitalism and democracy are not an especially good match as far as the attainment of success for all is concerned. In the massive concerns facing our country today, we memorialize 244 years of independence, for some, as we seek to achieve goals presented 231 years ago in the Constitution. We should look forward to all that is possible to further our successes toward ensuring equality for all, for achieving economic opportunities and benefits for all, and addressing America's role in working with international partners to further benefit everyone. It will clearly not be easy to reestablish stability in our own nation after some political change in November, especially until we work together as one now. And we must remember that our government's role is to ensure that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, and that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. Peaceful means of protest and expression of speech are a right, provided with limits by Supreme Court decisions. But a group of protesters is not automatically a mob of anarchists, as some would have us believe. Together, we can make change now, as we seek dialogue as to what the best government is and will be. We need to work for consensus, not division. To provide majority rule with respect to the rights of the minority is a challenge. To heal the excesses of the past 3.5 years will be a challenge. To share our Unitarian 7 principles with others and to live their reality is an attainable challenge. With such guidance, we can resume again our challenging efforts to become a nation of one.
Break not the circle of enabling love, where people grow forgiven and forgiving. Break not that circle, make it wider still, till it includes, embraces all the living. Come wander at this love that comes to life, where words of freedom are with humor spoken, and people keep no score of wrong and guilt, but will that human bonds remain unbroken? Join within the movement of the love that frees, till people of whatever race or nation will truly be themselves, stand on their feet, see eye to eye with laughter and elation.
Let America Be America Again by Langston Hughes. Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain seeking a home where he himself is free. America was never America to me. Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that great, strong land of love where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above. It was never America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free, equality in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark? And who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor, white, fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro bearing slavery scars. I am the red man driven from the land. I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. I am the young man full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need, of work the men, of take the pay, way of owning everything for one's own greed. I am the farmer, bondsman to the soil. I am the worker, sold to the machine. I am the Negro, servant to you all. I am the people, humble, hungry, mean, hungry yet today, despite the dream, beaten yet today. Oh, pioneers, I am the man who never got ahead. I am the poorest worker bartered through the years, yet I am the one who dreamt our basic dream in the old world while still a serf of kings, who dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true, that even yet its mighty daring sings in every brick and stone, in every furrow turned that's made America the land it has become. Oh, I am the man who sailed those early seas in search of what I meant to be my home. For I am the one who left dark Ireland's shore, and Poland's plain, and England's grassy lay, and torn from black Africa's strand to build a homeland of the free. The free? Who said the free? Not me. Surely not me. The millions on relief today, the millions shot down when we strike, the millions who have nothing for our pay, for all the dreams we've dreamed and all the songs we've sung and all the hopes we've held and all the flags we've hung, the millions who have nothing for our pay except the dream that's almost dead today. Oh, let America be America again, the land that never has yet been and yet must be the land where every man is free, the land that's mine, the poor man's, Indians, Negroes, me, who made America, whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain must bring back our mighty dream again. Sure, call me any ugly name you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain. From those who live like leeches on people's lives, we must take back our land again. America, oh yes, I say it plain. America was never America to me. And yet I swear this oath, America will be, out of the rake and ruin of our gangster death, the rape and rot of graft, of stealth and lies, we, the people, must redeem the land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains, and the endless plain. All the stretch of these great green states, and make America again.
That's poet Danez Smith reading Langston Hughes's Let America Be America. He's a poet based in the Twin Cities and has written some award-winning poetry in his own right as well. I encourage you to check him out. And I thought his presentation of that poem was brilliant. I'm going to invite you into a time of prayer and reflection, centering, holding love and attention. I want to invite you, as we begin this time, if you want to type into the comments the name of someone you might be holding in prayer as we gather this morning, who you are thinking of. I'm thinking of my colleague and friend, Misha Sanders, who's recovering from surgery this morning. Thinking of folks in the congregation who have lost those that they loved and cared for, and who face medical challenges, economic challenges. I invite you to share who you might be thinking of, and if you see those, to send a good wish, a prayer, a hope of love and healing in those directions. Great Spirit of life and love, wondrous power of many names, be with us this morning as we gather on this warm and beautiful day in this part of the world. Ashes of fireworks set off the previous night sit on the streets and driveways and backyards. Folks pick up the pieces, wonder what's next, take a breath as we prepare for what is to come, change that has been long waiting, hope and fear, compassion and weariness all woven together. Spirit of life and love, be with us this day and every day. Hold us fast to the vision of love and mercy, justice and hope. Amen. I want to speak about this topic. This question, are we one nation? Can America be America for the first time? Is that a worthy project? What would it mean to be united? I want to speak about this question without resorting to cliches, to bromides about understanding and harmony and some common American values. I want to talk about this in a way that's real and theologically grounded in our faith, our liberal faith, not the liberal politics that many of us share, actually, but our liberal faith tradition. Those are two different things. A liberal tradition that is reaching to be both liberal and liberationary. And without stock phrases or easy pot shots at those who exploit divisions for gain, it's too easy, a slam dunk on a 4-foot rim, unworthy of this sacred time. What does it mean to be an American? I mean, really, what does it mean? To see past the myths and stories we were told, and to inherit by birth, by choice, by force, by history, by possibility, to inherit this tragic, messy, heroic, villainous story. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, the Nigerian novelist, has reminded us of the danger of the single story. And I want to start there. The danger of the single story. I grew up thinking that America had a single story. Even in my liberal household, my well-educated home, my pretty good schools, there was an American story. And you know it too, I bet, most of you. It went like this. Brilliant men threw off the yoke of British tyranny to form a new nation. Those men were followed by other brilliant men, heroes and thinkers, and soon some women even, and they made the country better. Struggles for justice happened with heroes who led the way against people who were noble but wrong, or just wrong sometimes. And later, other men went and fought for freedom in Europe and Asia mostly, and people invented things and explored places and named things. And the journey is unfinished. That's part of the story, I was told, but progress goes on. And though America is not yet united, we are on our way. There are parts of that story that are true, and there are parts of that story that are not true. The danger of a single story is we think it's the only story. Here's another story. Colonists looking for land to make theirs arrived, massacred the people who lived here, kidnapped and enslaved others to till that land, enslaved their children, and profited from free labor, and projected their imperial power around the globe to control the distribution of everything from bananas to oil. When those oppressed rose up and violence failed to stop their uprising, modest incremental improvements were offered to appease their larger demands for justice and reparations. To this day, the descendants of those whose land was stolen and people were massacred fight to protect their water, which is life, from the black snake of the Dakota Access Pipeline and other pipelines which destroy their land and their water. Other descendants of those enslaved still fight to end a system of injustice which controls their lives and their neighborhoods. Is that story true? Surely as true as the first one. Here's another story. There was a time when America was great, a vibrant middle class with access to education and jobs and hope, and something went wrong. What went wrong is its own story, and there are many versions. Some say it was upending the existent racial hierarchy. Others say it was the attack on labor unions, or it was globalization, or partisanship, or disinvestment and tax cuts for the rich, or all of the above, but something went wrong. And from the left or the right or the middle, there's a longing to get back to where we are to be united again. Is that story true? It's not fully true, that's for sure. But it's not fully untrue either. There was a time when the middle class was more vibrant and less precarious, although it didn't include everybody we say it included. The danger of a single story is thinking that any one story can capture the whole story, that any one view sees the whole view. How can a nation of 50 states, 1 disenfranchised capital district, 5 inhabited territories, 326 indigenous land areas, a nation of 321 million people have a single story? Doesn't any single story erase all the variation, all the nuance, all the complication? And in this country, the single story is so often a story of whiteness. It centers whiteness. It's a story about how white folks came here, if the story of those already here and still here is even told at all. It centers how people not considered white in Europe, Italians and Poles and Irish and Bohemians and Scandinavians, even how through participation in the existent racial caste system became white in this new land. Whiteness becomes the black hole that sucks all the light out of difference. So, one nation? Not if that oneness means a single story. Not if that oneness means a single racial identity, assimilation or else. Not if that oneness means forgiving or historical naivete. Not if that oneness means one religion or one understanding of God. So here's the question. Can there be an understanding of unity, of common good, of neighborliness, of community, which doesn't depend on a single story, which admits of multiple truths, which admits that some of those brilliant men were profoundly evil, which admits that some of our own ancestors participated in evil, which notices that some of us carry in our bodies the marks of that history's pain, and some of us carry in our souls the hope that America will be finally the promise that it says it is, while others doubt it ever will be. Can we have a sense of unity that isn't based in an idolatry, that confuses a nation with what is sacred, that knows that nations are fictions made by war and conquest and theft and purchase, and yet which has concern and hope for the state of that nation? Hold those two truths at the same time in tension and balance. I don't think these are easy questions. There's a lot of evidence that even introducing some of these other stories causes so much cognitive dissonance, such a threat to the commitment of innocence that some people just can't handle it. See, for example, how some people reacted to the 1619 Project, a truthful story, another story about America's history. See how committed people are to the stories they learned about Columbus, George Washington. And in our tradition, Unitarian Universalism, we've had to grapple with the fact that some of our heroes weren't that heroic, really. Thomas Jefferson, a rapist and a slave owner, to name the most troublesome from our own history. But even Susan B. Anthony, who threw her black sisters under the bus to win the right to vote for white women. But at the same time that we're re-examining those stories, we're finding other stories, other people whose stories we haven't told as much, but we could tell more, who we can say embodied better the best of our vision of the religious and civic life, people like Whitney Young and Frances Helen Watkins Harper, to name just two of many. But this task of telling truer stories, richer, more complicated stories, stories which implicate some of us and some of our ancestors in a history that is not progress always upward and onward forever, a history that is genocide sometimes, a history that is complicated, with moments of grace and love and moments of fear and pain. Telling true stories is the first move on a journey of a united country, if such a destination is even possible. It's not the only step that's needed. Far from it. When we tell truer stories, richer and more real stories, a whole variety of stories, we will need to take action on those stories. We will need to make repairs. We will need to stop harm and make repairs. Spiritual, material, economic, and geographic repairs. Taking down statues and renaming places that glorify enslavers and those who committed genocide will be, should be, the natural response to listening to each other's stories with heart. If someone tells me that the icon I keep in a prominent place on my wall represents someone who raped, murdered, and tried to destroy their beloveds, and then I leave that icon up, then I have not heard them. And then one nation is worse than fiction. It is violence. But changing who matters most in the story we tell is only a small small part of the journey. We have to make sure that those who have not mattered before matter now. And until that happens, one nation isn't just impossible, it's violence. There's so much to do if we want to be united for the first time ever. We will need to make the words that we say define us as a nation, words like freedom and justice, hope and discovery and courage and democracy. We'll have to make those words real. Keys to open doors, instead of false promises written in scars on the bodies of some among us. All that work awaits. But we must begin by telling more stories and hearing more stories. Some people need to be a lot less defensive about the history in their family stories, in their faith stories, and community stories, and in our national story, while others need to keep telling theirs until more people hear them. It was important to me this morning to share stories written and told by people who get to tell their own story, both in our children's story and our reading this morning. It begins with more stories. Because unity will not be found, if it will ever be found, in myopia or denial or hagiography, in refusal to see one another and hear one another and love one another. Not all stories have equal weight in this moment. Some stories have been shouted over and over and over again, and they need to take a turn to listen. Other stories are hardly heard, and they need to be lifted up. When possible, folks should get to tell their own stories. These stories are holy and sacred, not one more possession for the colonizer. In the end, though, it seems to me that the most essential thing in moving toward the kind of unity that is sometimes professed but not realized is that we must tell our stories and listen to the stories of others with love. With love. That is the most essential. We must hold firm, and here I'm getting theological again, we must hold firm to the idea that there is a love which transcends but does not erase difference, which rejoices in the harmony of many voices, which delights in rainbows and mosaics and miles of food trucks from every place with every delicious thing. A love which shattered the Tower of Babel not for fear of unity, but for love of diversity. A love that reminds us that everywhere skies are blue and people dream their own dreams. We must hold firm to this universalist vision that love is stronger, and that only a rich love, a love that sees our fullness, a love that reconciles and repairs and forgives and seeks justice, is worthy of our allegiance and our effort. It is a love that allows us to love and to forgive, to hold accountable both ourselves and each other. Justice is what love looks like in public, and we'll talk more about that next week. But it is sacred love that must be at the basis of our desire for unity, whether that unity be worldwide, in a nation, in a community, a congregation, or a family. Sacred love loves the other side for their own, loves the other for their own sake, and not because they agree with us or make us happy or are useful to us in some way, but for their own complicated, real, holy selves. It makes no straw men, no Potemkin villages, and admits of no stereotypes. It is curious and caring, slow to judge and quick to humility. It is a love that asks, "Tell me more," not shouts, "I already understand." A love that is courageous enough to change and to risk discomfort. Our unity, our ability to be one people, one nation, one church, must be enlivened by this love, not by fear of conflict, not by assimilation or by domination, but by curious, courageous love. Love that rejoices in stories, loving, painful, real, hopeful stories, told with heart, heard with heart. O God of all the nations, be with us. Be with us in our quest for unity, and let us not settle for conformity instead. And be with us in our quest for justice, and let us not settle for quietness instead. Be with us in our longing for love, and let us not settle for power instead. Be with us, make us curious, humble, with open hearts and minds. O God of all the nations, sing in our heart a song of peace for our land and for all lands, for our soul and for all souls, for our stories and for all stories. O God of all the nations, may it be so. Amen. We'll sing together.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on clover leaf and pine. But other lands have sunlight too, and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, though God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land and for mine.
I'll extinguish our chalice here at the church, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These things we carry with us until we are together again. I invite you to extinguish your chalice at home as well. The words of our benediction from the first chapter of the letter to James in the Christian Scriptures: be doers of the word and not merely hearers. Those who look into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and persevere, being not hearers who forget, but doers who act, they will be blessed in their doing. May we go and do and make real the unity in diversity that we profess to believe in. We'll sing together our sung blessing.
Go your way in peace, wander as you may. Blessed is the path you take, may love guide you on your way. Go our way in peace, wander as we may. Blessed is the path we take, may love guide us on